It's 1 o'clock. I'm live. I don't know why I have headphones on. Hey, what's up, everyone? Thanks to everyone who has been waiting in chat. So this is a discussion. We're talking PvP. It's not live today. I'm sorry if it seemed that way. I didn't mean to make it seem that way. I just wanted to talk about this. I had about 20 minutes of stuff that I recorded last night, yesterday, just talking about all my thoughts and feelings about PvP, but I figure since this is kind of a bigger topic, I just wanted to do it live. I'll archive this on the channel so you can watch it, you can listen to it as sort of a podcast, I guess. But it just felt like the type of topic that I would rather talk about in detail and also have real-time responses so that we can sort of have a conversation rather than me just spewing out all my thoughts and then waiting to read comments and reacting again later on. This way we can kind of go over everything together a lot quicker, and hopefully it should be fun. So we're going to start with a couple articles, or one article specifically. The press, some people did get early access, got to try out a demo of PvP at Niantic, including my friend Andrew Goldfarb over at IGN. So we're going to start by reading through his article because it does include a few more details about the battle system, about PvP, that aren't included here in the official announcement on the Pokemon Go website. So, hi everyone in chat. Thanks for showing up, especially my moderators, Catherine, Milton, Kristen. Appreciate you guys. So let's start with Andrew Goldfarb's article here on IGN. Pokemon Go PvP doesn't reinvent battles, but adds some new twists. And we've all kind of seen how this works, right? So let's just get into what Andrew Goldfarb saw that wasn't included in the announcement. After 2 full years and tease after tease, Pokemon Go finally has competitive trainer battles on the way. While this new PvP mode isn't the full battle system rework some people were hoping for, it also isn't entirely identical to the gym and raid battles players are already used to. Again, we've seen that from the official announcement. Niantic has started with some simple changes that are a potential foundation for some much bigger ones, and also introduce new reasons to maintain your friendship levels and battle regularly. I think that's an important line there. Some simple changes that are a potential foundation for some much bigger ones, and we'll get into that a little later in the article here. Last week, I visited Niantic's office for over an hour of hands-on gameplay with trainer battles, which gave me a much better idea of what Niantic has built already and what could come next. So, this is Andrew Goldfarb, who has actually had a hands-on with Pokemon Go PvP. And again, a lot of press did get invited, so there are a few different articles. I've read through pretty much all of them that I've been able to find online. Goldfarb, as always, covers it all, so we're going to start here. We know this. Start with scanning a battle code. These images are, should be nothing new. If you watched my video earlier today, we've seen all of these screenshots. But you can battle starting with a QR code. You can just scan that when someone is nearby. As for when it's coming out, I see that's like the main question. I don't know. I don't have that information. This article doesn't have that information. That information is not available yet. Sorry, everyone who just wants to watch me play PvP. Not happening today, but we are talking as much as possible because, you know, I love talking about this nerdy stuff. So you can battle people nearby. You can also battle friends remotely, ultra or best friends. After you've initiated a battle, choose your league and team, more on that below, and get ready to fight. Once the battle begins, familiar to anyone who's tried raid or gym battles in the past, you'll tap to use your Pokemon's fast move, which will build up energy and eventually allow you to use a more powerful charge move. So we are still tapping. We saw that as well. However, along with trainer battles, Niantic will now add the ability to unlock a second charge move. You can go to any Pokemon and spend additional Stardust and Candy to permanently add a second charge move, though Niantic couldn't specify the final costs just yet. Remember, this is a demo build that the press got to look at, so not everything that they saw was finalized. After you have a second charge move unlocked, when you use a charge TM in the future, you'll simply decide which of the 2 moves you want to replace, rather than one automatically being picked. The second charge move will be available in all battle scenarios, including raids and gyms, in addition to trainer battles. So if you are investing in a second charge move, it's not just for PvP. You'll be able to use that charge move in raids, in gyms. So, good news there. Very good news there. We have a video here. We're going to watch that too after we get through the rest of this article. Again, from IGN, Andrew Goldfarb. In battle, you'll be able to choose which charge move to use. Once you've built up enough energy, then you'll have an additional few seconds to charge it up even more, and that's something we're going to see in the video coming up. During that window, the opposing player will have the option to use a Protect Shield. Each player only gets 2 of these to use for the entire battle, so you'll need to be careful in deciding which Pokemon and which attacks to use them against. So here, 2 Protect Shields for the entire battle. Remember, the battle is 3 versus 3, and you'll only be able to use Protect Shields twice. Again, keep in mind this was a beta build, so that might not be the final number, but you are going to have a very limited number of Protect Shields. At the end of the battle, both players will receive prizes. We know that includes the possibility of Stardust or Sinnoh Stones. Niantic said you'll be able to earn these rewards 3 times per day by battling other players, so there is a cap on it. 3 times per day by battling other players, once per day from battling NPC team leaders. So, I know there were concerns in the comments of my video that I posted this morning, concerns that people would just be able to battle multiple accounts or their friends over and over again to farm items. There is a cap, 3 per day. 3 battles per day will earn you prizes. You can continue battling after that, but you're only going to earn prizes 3 times. The end of a battle will also give you the opportunity to send a friend request if you're not already friends. Battling against a player is also a new option for your once per day friendship increase. So battling will count towards increasing your friendship, which means you now have more options for increasing friendship remotely. Remember, to battle someone remotely, you have to be Ultra or Great friends, so you can battle your Ultra friends once per day and earn friendship that way, and you can still open gifts from 20 players who are less than Ultra friends to get them closer to Ultra friends. So theoretically, there should be no limit on how many people you can increase friendship with remotely. The only limit would be the number of Ultra or Great friends that you already have. Players will be able to train by fighting against AI-controlled versions of the team leaders. We talked about that. They're NPCs, so to speak, Blanche, Candela, Spark. And once per day, you can earn rewards from that method of training, as well as progress toward the formerly retired Ace Trainer medal. It's back. Ace Trainer's back, which is good news. I still see people complaining about that. I can't believe people would complain about Ace Trainer medal coming back. Each team leader will always have the same defined set of Pokemon with a different team for each league, much like battling gym leaders in the main series games. So that does give you something to kind of do at home, along with fighting friends, battling friends. Hi, Zoe. So you'll be able to sort of do something if you have no Pokestop around, if you don't feel like going out, you can battle people. You can battle the team leaders or you can battle friends. Now, let's get into how the battle system actually works, or what Andrew Goldfarb saw here. Choose your fighter. Pokemon Go trainer battles are 1 versus 1, and each player uses a team of 3 Pokemon. We know that. After the battle's been initiated, you'll choose your team just like in raids. A set of Pokemon will be recommended and can be replaced manually. It's interesting to see how that recommendation is going to work, but obviously you're probably going to want to go to your pre-made battle parties ahead of time. You won't be able to choose Ditto or Shedinja, but any other Pokemon, including Mythicals and Legendaries, is fair game. So no Ditto. Ditto is already banned from PvP. Shedinja is also banned because it has like 10 HP in Pokemon Go, so kind of no point in using it. Hopefully that means that eventually it will be able to be used, both of these Pokemon, as Niantic continues to improve and add new features to the PvP system. So selecting your Pokemon and League, we've also seen these screenshots. These were all included in my video earlier, shared with me by Niantic, also shared with IGN here. More details that we know already. Great League, 1,500 or less. Ultra League, 2,500 or less. Master League, no CP limits. This is where Pokemon Go trainer battles introduce the most strategy. Since you won't be able to see your opponent's team ahead of time, you'll want to choose smart all-around attackers, and will also have to be careful as you're training Pokemon if you want to keep their CP value low enough to battle in a specific league. With the addition of a second charge move, Niantic said it will add a CP preview for Pokemon, so you'll know what their new CP value will be before you spend Stardust and Candy to power them up. So right now we do have resources that will allow you to kind of calculate a Pokemon's CP at a level if you know its IVs, but according to Goldfarb here, according to Andrew Goldfarb, Niantic is adding a CP preview, so before you power up a Pokemon, you'll see if it's going to go over the cap. If you're going to power something up, you'll know if it's going to go over 2,500 so that you can not power it up if you want to use it in Ultra League, for example. CP and Moveset will be the most important factors in battling, as no items can be used during battle, and Pokemon won't be able to dodge like in gym or raid battles. You'll see weather effects in the background, but Pokemon will not be boosted by the current weather during trainer battles. So weather is not a factor in PvP battles. And good news for everyone who's asking about this, after a battle, your Pokemon will have their full health restored, so you won't need to use revives or potions. And that's kind of the way it's always been in Pokemon games, in competitive play. Any kind of link battles or online battles, your Pokemon always get healed afterwards, so you're not actually using items. Unanswered questions. Niantic didn't confirm a specific release date for trainer battles, but hinted that they could start to arrive as soon as next week. So there's the big question. I've seen about 10,000 of you ask, even though there's only 5,000. Wow, there's 5,000 people watching. You guys are excited about PvP. Hinted that they could start to arrive as soon as next week, but will definitely be out before the end of the month. So there's as much information as we have about the release date. As soon as next week, definitely before the end of the month. And again, this is probably going to be a staged rollout, starting with level 40 first. That's the way it's always been with big new features. So for the first day, maybe it'll be limited to level 40 players, then it'll go down to level 38, 35, 30, and eventually will be available to everyone, probably level 5 and up. So I got a couple super chats here. Let me read these real quick. Josh G, I'd like a feature that allows my Pokemon to wear the scalps of the ones they've defeated. Josh, thanks for the super chat. I'm not sure if that feature will ever make it into Pokemon Go PvP. Grongern, wouldn't it be a bit luck-based when you start a battle? 3v3, the person with type counters will have a big advantage already. We're going to get into that after we go through this article and the video following. We're going to talk about competitive play and how we can control the system a little more to make it more strategic. Brandy Rust as well. The hype is so real, it's palpable. Now smash that like button, like Spike. Thank you, Brandy. The hype is real. Look at how many people are watching this, and it's just me talking. Our demo was using a development build, which meant that we still don't know some other aspects of trainer battles. The cost for unlocking additional attack wasn't final. Again, they were playing with a test build here, so we don't know full details on a lot of the numbers and things. The overall match timer, which was set to 4 minutes during our battles and only displayed during the final 20 seconds, was also still in development, according to Niantic representatives at the event, and could change before the final release. So in this demo build, 4-minute timer for battles, but again, like you're seeing here, and according to Andrew, the timer doesn't actually show until the final 20 seconds. So you'll kind of have to keep track in your head if you're trying to stall an opponent out, maybe with a Blissey or something like that. But you're not actually going to see the time, at least in this development build. The build we played did feature a new trainer battle themed loading screen, which there's a screenshot of that on Andrew's Twitter at Garfep, Garfep, if you want to check that out. As well as some Sinnoh Pokemon that have not yet been released. So that's also going to be shown in the loading screen, some Pokemon that aren't released, and then when we get to the video that Andrew has, you'll see that too. For now, trainer battles seem like they'll be an approachable way to introduce the feature, and the pared down teams of 3, as opposed to 6 in the main games, are in line with the simplified mechanics Go players are used to. In the short term, they're also sure to be a relief to players looking for more ways to earn Sinnoh Stones, but their ultimate success will depend on whether or not communities decide to organize tournaments or if Pokemon Go is ever incorporated into official competitive events. And we are getting to that as well at the end of this video or live stream. Probably won't be the end. In a later section of this live stream, we're going to talk all about organizing local tournaments and competitive play for Pokemon Go. Most importantly, Niantic lead software engineer Rob Giusti and product manager Matt Sleman suggested that trainer battles are just the beginning of what the team wants to accomplish with a competitive mode. The pair told us that more complex features may arrive in the future as the game continues to evolve, including more strategies to master, more ways to find competition, and more ways to win. So this is the important thing here. This is just the beginning. This is Niantic laying the foundation, which they're going to continue to improve upon. A lot of people want a lot of features in this, and I think Niantic wants those features as well. It was just a matter of either getting PvP out before the end of the year or not, right? So if you think about it, everyone's like, well, we want turn-based, and like I said, that was never going to happen. We know that's not going to happen. They want this to be fast-paced. People want abilities, myself included. Held items is one thing. Mega evolutions is another thing. But you have to remember that in red, blue, and yellow, battles were fairly simple. Abilities didn't exist. Held items didn't exist. Mega evolutions didn't exist. All those things were added to the main series battle system over the course of 20 years. So this is just the beginning of PvP in Pokemon Go, and Niantic is going to continue improving and adding new features. You got to start somewhere, right? And this is where we're starting. So let's move now to Andrew's footage. He has actual gameplay footage of PvP, a development build that he played at Niantic. And again, everyone should, if you're interested, go follow Andrew on Twitter. Here he is. Garfep. Andrew Goldfarb. Also, peep his bio here. Andrew is IGN's executive editor of news and can't wait to use more Sinnoh Stones. So, shout out to Andrew. Go check him out on Twitter. And, well, before we watch this video, let me quickly read through a couple more super chats. Yo. D-Night13, esports possibly? We're talking esports in a later segment of today's live broadcast, D-Night. Reality Changers, yo. Jorge, Nick, San Diego Pogo Gang will be waiting for you, dude. We're already organizing leagues today. You better be ready. Alexa says hi. Hi, Alexa. And also shout out to Jorge and the rest of the San Diego community. Yes, leagues. It's already happening. Communities all over the world are organizing, and we're going to talk more about that again later in this broadcast. Sylvester just got one of your medals in the shop. Well, thank you, Sylvester. Thanks for all your content. Proud to support your work. Super hyped for PvP. Likewise, I appreciate the support, Sylvester. Bryce Thomas, Nick, what aspect about PvP are you most excited about? I am excited to develop systems around PvP. And again, we're going to talk about that in a little bit here. Bryce Thomas, thank you for that super chat. Cody Wilson, thank you as well. Spanish Falcon. I'm curious on your thoughts of why we have to spend dust and candy to use a second charge attack. Why not make it standard to have two? I mean, you gotta pay something, right? Why not make it standard? I guess you could make it standard, but here we go. You gotta have a cost. There's a cost to it, I guess. And again, we don't know what the costs are. They could be pretty reasonable. They could be more expensive. Either way, the thing is with PvP itself is an end game. It doesn't necessarily feed into the other loops of the game. I mean, it does. You have to catch Pokemon, obviously, but a lot of people already have Pokemon maxed out and caught and everything. So if you want to continue progressing in the PvP world, you will need to continue playing through the main loops of the game, including catching Pokemon, to earn Stardust. So that's, I mean, from a design perspective, that's my thought on it, is that they want you to keep playing the other aspects of the game. So if you want to get all your Pokemon PvP ready, you have to keep catching, you have to keep earning Stardust. Maranuli asks, are there any existing tools for comparing Pokemon at 1500/2500 CP? For example, to find out that Haunter is stronger than Gengar at 1500 CP each. So I couldn't find anything specifically like that. I do have a tab open. Let me find it. Give me 1 second. From Game Press, the CP calculator that sort of shows you what's going on here. I'll open that up. So you can use the CP calculator if you know a Pokemon's IVs and everything. So we'll just put in like Gengar. Gengar. Remember when I said my N key doesn't work on my keyboard? Yep. You can put in whatever level, an actual level, 20. So if you put 15, 15, 15, and target level 40, you can calculate what the Pokemon's CP will be. It doesn't show you exact stats, so we are going to need some new tools for that. If anyone knows of one, feel free to let me know. But then you can, adjust the level. At level 30, it's going to have 2467. At level 31, its CP is going to go to 2508. But if you drop its IVs a little, look at that. A 15, 15, 14 Gengar at level 31 comes in at exactly 2500 CP. So that's the one tool I know of right now. And then I have been doing my own calculations, which I'll show you guys in a little bit, using the actual formulas and an Excel spreadsheet, which is really tedious work. But again, I'm sure we're going to get tools like this now that we know how PvP is going to work. So that is Game Press CP calculator, if anyone's interested. There it is. Sander B, what do you hope not comes to Pokemon Go? Pay to win aspects, I guess? I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm open to a lot of things. That's kind of a strange way to think about it. We always think about what we do want in Pokemon Go. What don't we want? We don't want ways for people to pay for advantage, I suppose. Razzie, join the Dono train. P.S. I'm the real Pokemon master. Well, Razzie, you'll get a chance to prove that very soon when PvP comes out. Again, as early as next week, but definitely before the end of the month. And Haxen Steka, yo, thank you for that Swedish kroner super chat. Shout out to my girlfriend, Mickey Rosa, who has been following you since day one. Wish her well, she's got the cold. Well, I hope you feel better soon, Mickey, and thank you. Haxen? Am I saying that right? Anyway, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the support. Kakuzato Jr., is it 3 per day including team leader or 3 plus team leader? As far as I understand, it is 3 per day from battling actual trainers and then once from a team leader. So you can earn rewards from PvP up to 4 times per day, once from a team leader and 3 times from battling actual other trainers. Now that we're caught up on super chats and donations, let's watch this together. First, gameplay footage of Pokemon Go PvP. Let's also listen. Let me know if this volume is okay. I can't even hear anything. Nope. Hold on. Sorry. Didn't have my sound settings set up the right way. There we go. Let's start this over and see if you can hear it. Barely. Can you barely hear it?
After a 2.5-year wait, competitive trainer battles are finally coming to
Pokemon
Go. While this PvP mode isn't the full battle system rework some players were hoping for, it does offer some new twists to the tap and swipe battles we're used to, plus some solid rewards. We went to Niantic's office last week to try out.
Alright, well, if you guys can hear it, then that's good, but I can't hear it. So give me 1 second. Let me make sure I can hear it so we can actually talk about what's going on. Sound settings. Oh, there, I hear that. That's a donation sound. Okay. Let me start this over one more time. There it is. I can hear it now. Okay.
After a 2.5-year wait, competitive trainer battles are finally coming to Pokemon Go. While this PvP mode isn't the full battle system rework some players were hoping for, it does offer some new twists to the tap and swipe battles we're used to, plus some solid rewards. We went to Niantic's office last week to try out some matches from start to finish, and here's how it works.
Alright, same tap attack bonus. Clever wordplay by Andrew Goldfarb.
Someone close to you, you'll enter the nearby radar. where a new battle tab will be available in the far left with a QR code for other players to scan. Once you've scanned a player's code, you'll pick a league. Trainer battles in Pokemon Go are 1v1 and give each player a team of 3 Pokemon. You'll be able to battle in 3 leagues. The Great League means each Pokemon on your team has to be 1500 CP or under. The Ultra League is 2500 CP or under, and the Master League has no limit. Once the battle begins, it's familiar to anyone who's tried out raid or gym battles.
All right,
You'll
take a
tap
look
to
at
use
this.
Your fast move, which will slowly charge up a more powerful move. However, new with trainer battles is a second charge move that all Pokemon can now learn if you unlock it with additional candy and Stardust. Once your charge move is ready, select it and you'll get an additional few seconds to charge it up even more. During this time, the opposing player can use a Protect Shield, which will mostly nullify the damage from an attack. You'll only get 2 of these to use for the entire battle, so you'll have to be smart about using them at the right time. The winner will be the first player to knock out all 3 of their opponent's Pokemon. At the end, both players will receive rewards regardless of who won or lost. In addition to Stardust,
Wow.
include a Sinnoh Stone, which allows you to evolve some Gen 4 Pokemon. After a battle, you'll be able to ask your opponent for a rematch or immediately send them a friend request. Trainer battles also offer a few other new twists. Ultra and Best Friends will be able to battle remotely instead of needing to be nearby, and all players will be able to train by fighting against AI-controlled versions of the team leaders, Blanche, Candela, and Spark. You'll still be able to earn rewards during these battles once per day, as well as make progress towards the previously retired Ace Trainer medal. We still have some question marks about Trainer Battle's final release. We know they're coming soon, but don't have an exact release date just yet. We also battled in an unfinished development build, and while that meant we got to glimpse a few Pokemon that have yet to be released, it also meant some aspects like the overall match time and the cost for unlocking new attacks weren't final just yet. Hopefully we'll find out more soon, but for now you can read much more about trainer battles over on IGN. For more on Pokemon Go, check out how to transfer Pokemon into Let's Go on
there you
NX.
go. So that is exciting, right? First gameplay footage. Let's go back and look at this again. Shout out to Andrew Goldfarb and IGN. Starting from the beginning, charge moves work a little differently now, it seems. In PvP, once you have a charge move charged up, you're going to have a secondary charging phase. So here you see that. Tap to charge up Earthquake, tap to charge up Thunder, Flamethrower. So you get 3 seconds to charge your move further. You know, this seems like it's going to add a multiplier, a damage multiplier, depending on how fast you can tap. So, you know, people were joking, it's tap, 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 tap as fast as you can to win, but it actually is. In this case, tapping fast is going to help you. And it looks like you get a 3-second window, and during that 3-second window, your opponent also has the option to choose if they want to use their Protect Shield. So there's a little bit of strategy here where you can try to bluff your opponents. You can, if you have 2 moves, obviously you can have one that's sort of a nuke, a huge move, something like Hyper Beam, Frenzy Plant, a big 1-bar charge move. You can also have weaker moves, things like, you know, Dragon Claw, 3-bar charge moves, and you could use those to bluff against your opponent. If you can try to get them to blow their Protect Shield on a weaker attack, there's strategy there. You can hold your big charge attack until after they've used their Protect Shield, and drop it later on when they're once they've used their Protect Shields, is what I'm trying to say. So there's a little bit of strategy there. You can definitely try to fake out your opponent. The other thing is with the second charge move. Can we get to a second charge move? So with a second charge move, you can surprise your opponent, and this is something that I went into a little bit in the earlier video today. If you have a move that counters a counter for type coverage, that's another way to introduce strategy, is by choosing the right moves. So this is a fast-paced battle system. It's you know, it's meant to move quickly, but the skill in it is more strategy-based than it is technique-based. You know, there's not really any timing. The only technique is how fast can you tap. But the skill comes from making the right choices, choosing the right team, choosing the right counters to certain Pokemon, choosing the right moves, and surprising your opponents as much as possible. And we're also going to talk about competitive play, creating rule sets that are going to add extra strategy as well. So what else? What else is going on here? Obviously, Sinnoh Stones. You can get the Sinnoh Stone. So you can see that moves charge at different speeds, right? This is a good example of that. This is actual video gameplay of what we saw earlier. You can see that Flamethrower is charging faster than Solar Beam, obviously because Flamethrower is a 2-bar charge move. It's ready faster than Solar Beam. So then you can use Flamethrower, or you could hold your Flamethrower until Solar Beam is ready. And when you use Flamethrower, maybe your opponent thinks you're using Solar Beam because it's been long enough that Solar Beam would be fully charged. So there's a little bit of mind games that you can play. And then, of course, you can power up your moves further. And, well, here's some exciting stuff, right? Regigigas, I stumbled through that one. Obviously, Andrew says here that they're playing with a development build, which meant a lot of Pokemon were available that aren't released in the game. So this is the first time we've actually seen Reggie, and you see in his party there, he has Smeargle and Heatran, unreleased Pokemon. Again, in a development build, but look at this. This is the first time we're actually seeing Smeargle in a battle. What moves did that Smeargle have? Let's take a look. Can you tell? I can't tell. It looks like he only has one move. It's probably the standard, like, struggle. What are the standard moves in the APK for Pokemon that don't actually have moves? Anyway, so there's definitely a lot there. A lot there, right? And we're going to talk about adding additional strategy. But we're also going to talk about lots of super chats coming in. So shout out to all of you guys for donating and supporting. I appreciate that. Grongern could maybe add one more league like Pokemon Stadium. I mean, I think Great Ultra Master League is enough. In competitive play, which we are working on designing, there will definitely be additional rules beyond just the leagues. So we'll get to that as well. Brandy says we should have at least 2,000 likes. Come on, y'all. Thank you, Brandy, for the support and the super chat. Cosm HD, this is my first ever donation. PvP. Thanks, Cosm. Appreciate it. Austin Gruel. Gruel? Hey, Nick, I have a question that is not PvP related. If I evolve Rhydon with Surf to Rhyperior, will I lose the move Surf? Yeah, Austin, moves are always re-rolled when you evolve a Pokemon in Pokemon Go. So, beware. I don't even think, does Rhyperior even have Surf in its move pool? I'm not sure about that. I don't think it does. Team Instinct Leader 1 with the $14.99 super chat. Thank you. Hey, bro. Been watching your channel for a while. Is the Sinnoh Stone back in the research box, or is it still broken? The Sinnoh Stone is back. It's not guaranteed. It's about a 1 in 5 chance based on the other rewards that are available. Also, hi Zoe and Prodigies and everyone who's hanging out in chat. Appreciate you guys. Victor Avilas. Hey, Nick. I'm trying to hype myself up, but it looks rushed and unfinished. Well, I disagree, Victor. It looks like a foundation. And again, if we go back to Andrew Goldfarb's article, it is a foundational release. This is version 1 of PvP. They have to start somewhere, and they're going to continue building on it, as Niantic's lead software engineer and product manager both confirmed to Andrew Goldfarb in this article. So this is the starting point for PvP. JD Gaming, Nick, Prodigies Nation tweeted about restricting people who battle the same accounts. What about people that battle against their family members? I think it's going to be a hard thing to police, right? You're not going to be able to know who's battling multiple times against their own account and who's battling against the same people because those are the only people, or those are the people that they play with regularly. Obviously, there are probably going to be some people that I battle almost every day. But that's not me using multiple accounts. That's just me being around the same people. So the interesting thing is that doesn't really matter in the current system. Niantic, as far as we know, is not keeping track of rankings in any way. So by battling the same person over and over again, by feeding yourself wins, you're not really gaining any advantage because there's no ranking that Niantic is keeping track of. We are going to talk about ranked play that will have a little bit more security, a little bit more policing, and if you want a preview, it's right here on the arena. Boom. Preview. We're going to talk about this very soon. In the meantime. What? Victor Ruskowski. Who will be your first opponent in PvP? Oh, that's a good question. I'm going to guess it's going to be Reversal, or Mystic 7, or Pokemon Master Holly, or Prodigy's Nation, or Zoe 2 Dots. That's my guess. One of those guys, or girls. Wizard Way with a $5 super chat. Thank you. PvP in Pokemon Go bodes well for Wizards Unite. Do you think there will be any AR in PvP, either now or later on? I think it'll be exclusive to Wizards Unite. Hashtag WooTubers. There's no mention of like AR in the sense that like AR plus mode. I think that's something that could come eventually. We've seen Niantic have demos of that. They recently acquired a company that does AR for multiple devices where multiple people would be able to see the same things in AR. But again, keep in mind that there is an augmented reality aspect of this and that you do have to be in range of people. A lot of people, I think, forget that Pokestops are AR. Finding Pokemon in the real world is AR. So this is maybe the least AR aspect of Pokemon Go because it finally gives you something you can do from anywhere. You can battle friends at any time. But I think in the future, again, this is like version 1 of PvP. Read the highlighted paragraph here. I think in the future we will see some improvements and definitely eventually actually seeing battles in real time. And I would love to have a spectator mode. If multiple people could circle up and watch the battle together, that would be really cool. Cal7810, is it possible that stab moves charge faster? I don't think so. I think the only benefit to stab, again, will just be that attack bonus. From the video here, let's take a look. Obviously, Flamethrower is charging faster because it requires less energy to use. You look at this, Flamethrower charges up twice as fast as Solar Beam. It looks like exactly twice as fast because it's right here, 50 energy for Flamethrower, 100 energy for Solar Beam. So I don't think charge moves, stab moves charge faster. If we look at, actually this starts with the same Pokemon. But no, I don't think stab moves are going to charge faster. Cal. Jesse Scribner, pro tip, use 1500 CP or use CP-1500 or CP-2500 for best counters. You can, yeah, you can search by CP. CP under 1500 or CP under 2500. There are search strings that you can use in Pokemon Go to find these Pokemon. How will this affect spoofing? I don't care. It means nothing to me. Are you going to get an advantage by spoofing? Only if people let you play with them. Anywho, Tinkering Disney Magic, $5 super chat. Do you think buying moves prevent battle strategy? I'm not a fan of it. I'd like to see 2 moves that boost stats like Harden. I feel PvP doesn't require skill. Technical skill and strategic skill are 2 different things, and there is definitely strategic skill involved. So I think if you're looking for a technical skill-based system, this is not it. It is much more strategic. Do I think buying moves prevents battle strategy? I'm not sure exactly what you mean. Unlocking a second move? No, I think unlocking a second move adds strategy. And obviously, yes, I would also like to see stat moves. I'd like to see status effects. And again, referring back to this last paragraph here, this is version 1. This is the foundation. And there will be much more coming to PvP over the next who knows how long. So just because it doesn't have the feature that you want yet doesn't mean it's never going to have it. Victor Aviles, what league are you most excited about? Right now I'm most excited about Ultra League. I could also get excited about Great League. I think the leagues have a lot to offer in terms of wider variety of Pokemon to be used, a wider variety of strategies, and we're going to get into that in a second because I have some math to back it up. Andres Sanchez, version 1 seems like a shield timing simulator. Well, there's not really timing because you get 3 seconds to decide whether or not to shield. It's more It's more, is my opponent using a move that I need to block, or can I survive this move, or should I save my shield? So it's definitely not a timing simulator. Joey L, stoked to battle small town peeps and my far peeps. Joey, I'm stoked as well. John says, will you do a YouTuber battle showdown live stream? Absolutely. Absolutely, we will. And we're going to do a lot more than that in the first coming weeks of Pokemon Go PvP. Havoc, thank you for the super chat. Tony Fleming, shout to my son, Chris Ryan. Huge fan and dying for PvP. Well, stay safe, Chris. Thanks for the support. Shout out to you. PvP's coming. Not much longer. You can make it. And then Tinkering Disney Magic says, thanks, Nick. I'm looking forward to updates. Sweet. Thank you guys all for the super chats and the support. I appreciate it. Now, let's talk about competitive play. Who's ready? Competitive play. It's time to prove your mettle. The Sylph League Arena. Ranked Pokemon Go tournaments coming soon. Follow for launch details. So we do have a Twitter account here. Let me preface this. There you go. I'm already following. But that's it. At SylphGG. If you want to go follow right now, you can also go to sylph.gg to sign up and start following. So I am working closely with the Sylph Road team and a few other key players here to develop a competitive league for Pokemon Go. This is the real exciting stuff. 10,000 plus league venues. The Sylph Road already has a huge network of communities established. Thousands of local community leaders around the world are licensed to host accredited Sylph Arena tournaments at meetups in their cities via their membership in the Sylph League. Sylph.gg makes it easy to compete and easy to host. Battle victories in any arena tournament count towards your stats. So this is where ranked play comes into Pokemon Go. Again, Niantic is giving us the foundation, and I think that they are hoping that things like this will develop outside of the game. And this is, I personally prefer it this way. I like it this way because it gives us the opportunity to build things around PvP, which we are doing right here with the Sylph League Arena. Player tiers and rank competing and winning in local Sylph Arena tournaments increases your player tier, your local and regional rank, and may even earn you a coveted invitation to compete at regional and world invitationals. That's right. We're having big tournaments here. Your historical stats and player tier are displayed on your Sylph player profile. So for those of you who are already signed up for Sylph trainer cards, your rank is going to be included on those trainer cards. So this is like real hype stuff here. Invitationals, regionals, worlds, ranks, right? We're taking control here. The community is building the rank system. And this is why I said earlier, if you're battling the same person over and over again to boost your rank, it's not going to work because this is the ranked system right here. There is no ranking within Pokemon Go PvP, so padding your stats by feeding yourself wins isn't going to count for anything. The only ranking right now is through the Sylph League Arena. And you're going to have to compete in actual accredited tournaments to increase your rank. So that means Sylph League communities and community leaders are going to be able to host tournaments. They will be policing, obviously. They're going to know who is and who isn't legit. So you're going to be able to track your rank by playing in Sylph League tournaments. Sylph.gg makes it easy to compete and easy to host. We'll talk more about this as it develops. Monthly themed cups are also going to be a thing. Communities around the world can join the arena's global themed cup each month by hosting a cup tournament with special rules, perfect for community day meetups. Earn mementos in your public trophy case by competing. Local tournament champions might even snag special limited run physical collectibles. So, myself, along with the Sylph Road and a few others, are developing this ranked system, this organized tournament play for Pokemon Go. And I think you should get in on the ground floor. go follow Sylph at SylphGG. There's a lot of FAQs here that you can check out if you're interested. You can go read up on this. I'm not going to go fully into it, but yo, ranked play. It's happening. Do we have... Oh, we have a couple more super chats. Thank you, guys. Mark Owens. Yo, what's up, Mark? Hey, Nick, do you think they'll give us new battle music? Ooh, I hope so. I think it should be a remastered version of the Johto Champion music or the Hoenn Rival battle music. Both very good, classic Pokemon tracks. So, that'll be fun. Ramon, if fights break out, will Niantic limit PvP to BFs? Well, I hope that fights aren't going to break out, but we are human, and we all know what humans are capable of. Be civil, people. It's just a game. Dan Lindner, when does PvP go live? We don't have an exact date, according to this article by Andrew Goldfarb. As early as next week, but definitely before the end of the month. There you go. Niantic didn't confirm a specific release date, but hinted that they could start to arrive as soon as next week, and will definitely be out before the end of the month. Ethan, thank you for the super chat. And Caesar Goretti, did I miss how and when you get to choose to buy a second charge move? Like, how do I know I want to? Also, when is the strategy to decide what 3 Pokemon to take into battle? All right, let's talk about this. As far as when you can buy a second charge move, I think we don't have exact details. I don't know if that's going to be available from the start, if you'll just be able to choose immediately, or if you'll need to battle with Pokemon to unlock that option. That is not clear to us yet. But as far as when is the strategy to decide what 3 Pokemon to take into battle, let's talk about this and answer this related question from Eddie Loera. Is the 3 Pokemon lineup 3 unique Pokemon? I'm not sure, but I would probably say yes. I mean, you would probably want it to be 3 unique Pokemon. All right. So when can we battle? Again, as early as next week, but definitely by the end of the month. That's the only release information that we have. So going back to competitive play. Again, this system is very simple. Right? The battle system is, it's a simple system. There's definitely strategy involved in it, but by creating a competitive rule set, we get to create even more strategy. So that's what we're doing here with the Sylph League Arena. We are building out a rule set. There's a subreddit that's up if you're interested in discussing competitive play. We're having these discussions now. We're going to have a discussion right here about competitive play and talk about how we can add more strategy to Pokemon Go by creating specific rules. So, Mark Owens says, just realized I got the 3 Pokemon thing from Battle Frontier in the main series games. Mark, it is definitely possible. Also, Ace Trainer Jake says, I hope we can stack charge moves. I don't think so. If we watch this, take a look here. Let's watch Infernape. So he charges up Flamethrower and uses it. Solar Beam is at half charge, 50 energy. And was that the same clip over again? Okay, never mind. So I think what's going to happen is you have a total of 100 energy, right? That's the way it works. If you use an attack that costs 50 energy, that uses 50 of your total energy, which means your 100 energy move like Solar Beam would then not be fully charged. That's what I'm thinking. That's my understanding right now. So I don't think you'll be able to stack charge moves necessarily. Ethan Schatz, will yourself and other YouTubers be planning more visits for competitive play, small tournaments in new areas, i.e. my area, FWB, Fort Walton Beach, Florida? Yes, absolutely. So with the Sylph Arena, there will be monthly themed cups. Perfect for Community Day meetups. So along with traveling for Community Day, I'm also going to be traveling to different communities in the Sylph League and attending local tournaments and kind of covering the competitive Pokemon Go scene through the Sylph League Arena around the world. So yes, absolutely, Ethan. We will be traveling for competitive tournaments. Not necessarily participating. I don't know. We might. But definitely coming to check them out and hang out with your communities. Miguel Zaldivar, what's up, Nick? It seems like the different Battle League CP limits seems similar to my tier gym idea of having set CP limits in gyms. Definitely similar, and definitely adds a lot of strategy to PvP, and we're going to talk about that if I can get to it. Dan J, I worry since CP is a useless stat, even in Great and Ultra the meta will be limited. CP is... okay, it's not a useless stat, but it's not an accurate representation of a Pokemon's overall strength, right? It's a flawed stat, I think, is a better way of looking at it. So let's talk about that. Let's go into how the leagues are going to work. So through the Sylph League, again, we are developing a competitive rule set, and I want you all to be, what's the subreddit is the Sylph Arena. Reddit.com/r/the Sylph Arena. Let me put some of these links down in the description. Important links. Sylph.gg, reddit.com/r/the Sylph Arena, and twitter.com/sylphgg. And also, why not, Andrew Goldfarb. Okay, links should be in the description. I should be updating right now. So you can go check out all this stuff here. Developing competitive play, right? The opportunities for strategy in the Pokemon Go battle system right now are fairly limited. The strategy comes in choosing when to use your Protect Shield, and importantly, choosing, creating a team. Creating the right team. That's not a team. Do I have a screenshot of a team? Here, right? Choosing the right team is where a lot of the strategy happens. So you want to choose a team, obviously, that's not super weak to one type. You want to go be aware of the meta and what Pokemon are popular and what's common in each league so that you know what potential threats are. And then there's also team building. So like this is all within the system itself. If we look at, this is where I did a ton of math yesterday. I got so nerdy. So CP calculator, right? This is the only tool we have right now. Again, the example I gave earlier, if you want to use Gengar in a Ultra League, 2500 CP, you can get a Gengar, a 15, 15, 14 Gengar at level 31, maxes out at 2500 CP. That's one option. You can also play with things. You can change up your Pokemon's IVs. A 1, 15, 1 Gengar at level 35, let's say. Nope, we can keep going. Level 36, maybe even 36 and a half. Nope, okay, 36. A level 36 Gengar with 1 HP, 15 attack, and 1 defense comes in under 2500 CP. This is a very different Gengar than the 15, 15, 14 Gengar. This Gengar, with the same attack IV, but 6 levels higher, is going to have a higher attack stat. So, I did a kind of a nerdy amount of math on a spreadsheet because there's not really a tool for this just yet. So let me pull up my super nerdy spreadsheet here and bring it over, and we're going to look at this. Ways to create additional strategy. If I can get it over here. Additional strategy in PvP by using leagues and limitations. So let me kind of explain what's going on here. And also, can I zoom in a little? There we go. So take a look at my super nerd calculations. I did a little bit of math, so we'll start with Machamp. These are fighting types right here that I have highlighted. These are fighting type Pokemon. if you want to look at Master League, for example, level 40, in Master League, I think the metagame is going to be incredibly limited. In Master League, you're basically always going to want to use a perfect IV level 40 Pokemon. So the only Machamp you would use is 15, 15, 15 at level 40. Max CP is 3056. These are its attack stats, HP, attack, defense stats as calculated at that level. Obviously, they're rounded down, but for the purpose of calculating CP, I had to leave them like this because CP is calculated before the floor is applied to these stats. So 175, 196, 137. If we look at another fighting type Pokemon at level 40, Breloom, which could be in some situations better than Machamp because it has different type coverage. Breloom, 15, 15, 15, level 40, 134 HP, 202 attack, 125 defense, 26, 28 max CP. Hariyama, 15, 15, 15 at level 40, 250 HP, 177 attack, 101 defense, 28, 29. And then Hitmonlee, which would probably never get used in Master League, 15, 15, 15 at level 40, 120 HP, 188 attack, 154 defense. Where things get interesting is when you go down into lower leagues. A 15, 15, 15 Machamp at level 28.5 maxes out at 2,489 CP. So to get a perfect IV Machamp in Ultra League, it would need to be level 28.5. Its stats would be 158 HP, 177 attack, 124 defense. Now, you can build Machamp differently for Ultra League. Obviously, it's going to take some work, but if you have a 0 HP, 15 attack, 0 defense Machamp at level 32, its stats are going to be 153 HP, 185 attack, and 118 defense, and that comes in at 2499 CP. So these two Machamp, 15, 15, 15, and 0, 15, 0, are both optimized for Ultra League, but their stats are slightly different. The 0, 15, 0 Machamp, since it's higher level, it actually has higher attack, 185 attack versus 177 attack. Its other stats, its defensive stats are a little lower, 153 versus 158 HP, 118 versus 124 HP. And the reason that this is important and adds additional strategy in lower leagues is because now when you come up against a Machamp, you don't know what the stat spread is going to be. In Master League, you're pretty much expecting 15, 15, 15. For the most part, after the metagame develops, we're going to know how these matchups work. You're going to know what to use in certain matchups. But in Ultra League or in Great League, with limitations on CP, you can build Pokemon differently. So even though these are small differences, 177 versus 185 attack, that could mean the difference between taking down an opponent in 2 charge attacks or having to use 3 in certain matchups. The difference in defense or HP could mean the difference between surviving 2 charge attacks or surviving 3 charge attacks. So this adds an additional layer of strategy to lower leagues because when you come up against a Machamp, you don't know what the stat spread is going to be. An additional option in Ultra League would be 15 HP, 1 attack, 15 defense at level 30.5. That maxes out at 2493. Again, another possible Machamp for Ultra League, but with very different stats. Again, 163 defense versus 153 in the 0-15-0. Lower attack, obviously, with the 1 attack IV. 172 versus 185 of the 15 or 177 of the perfect IV. 127 defense, the highest defense out of these 3 builds. And again, this Machamp could survive longer in certain matchups. Maybe it takes an extra hit from an Alakazam or a Mewtwo or what have you. So there's different builds that are possible in lower leagues like Ultra and Great League. And that's why I think they're going to be more interesting strategically. The same goes for the variety of Pokemon that you can use. So if we look at the 15-15-15 Machamp, level 40, this is the Machamp you're going to use in Master League. 15-15 Breloom, Perfect IV Hariyama, Hitmonlee. These would be the versions that you would use in Master League. Obviously fully maxed out. Over here I have stat totals, so let me scroll over a little here. So I added up stat totals rather than looking at CP, but if we look at the 15-15-15 Breloom, this is the Master League Breloom. Its stat total is 90.75% of Machamp's stat total in Master League. Hariyama actually comes in above 103.94% versus Machamp in Master League. Hitmonlee 90.94% of Machamp's stat total in Master League. Now, if you go down to Ultra League, when a Machamp maxes out at, say, 2493, this is the highest actual stat total build because HP and defense are weighted less in the CP formula. If you compare a Ultra League Breloom to an Ultra League Machamp, it becomes much closer, 97.19% of Machamp's stat total. Same for Hitmonlee. It goes up to 98% of Machamp's stat total. So these Pokemon become closer together in terms of stat total, which means more Pokemon are usable, which means more potential movesets are available in the metagame, which means you as a player have to be aware of more potential options. More matchups that you could come up against. In Master League, you're probably never going to see Hitmonlee. In Ultra League, you could, and then you would need to know. You would need to be familiar with more information because you need to know what potential movesets a Hitmonlee could have, what IV spreads people could be running. So there's definitely more strategy, again, in my opinion, in Ultra League or Great League than there is in Master League. Talking a lot here. I need a lozenge. Anyone else's throat starting to hurt? You're all just listening and typing. Look at that. I got one right here. So let's... I've said a lot just now. We've done a lot of math. So let me catch up on the questions and super chats and stuff like that. So... Scroll. Oh, no super chats. Perfect. Nothing to catch up on. So, in chat, no, PvP is not live. It's coming out as early as next week, but definitely before the end of the month. That's what we know. PvP is not out yet. If you want to look at ice types, again, I did similar calculations here. For tanky ice types, Regice, perfect IVs at level 40. Maxes out 3122. This is the Regice you'll see in Master League. Articuno 3051. Lapras 2641. Cloyster 2547. It's very unlikely that you'll ever see Cloyster or Lapras in Master League when they're outclassed by Articuno and Regice, unless you wanted a little bit of surprise. But in Ultra League, things could be different, right? If you look at Articuno, 93% versus Regice's stat total. Lapras, 91% versus Regice. Cloyster, 86%. That's in Master League. If you bring them down to Ultra League type of stats, with different stat spreads, different IV builds, the difference isn't so big. 95% for Articuno versus Regice. Lapras actually goes slightly above Regice's stat total. Cloyster, much closer, 96%. So more Pokemon are usable in the lower leagues. And Mark Owens says, finally a good use for the Regis. Exactly. PvP makes defensive Pokemon much more usable. So, it's exciting. This is what I mean when I'm saying there's a lot more here than it looks like on the surface. Stat spreads adds an element of, additional strategy, additional surprise. Move choice. Move choice is another thing. If we look at move sets for Pokemon, there are certain Pokemon who have more usable moves than others. For example, some Pokemon have an entire move pool that consists of one type of move. That's not an interesting move pool for competitive play. If you look at Pokemon like Vaporeon, Jolteon, all the EV evolutions pretty much all have, aside from their Community Day move in, Last Resort? Anyway, they all have single-type movesets, so if you come against a Vaporeon in PvP, you're expecting all water-type moves. That's where typing becomes interesting in PvP, because you have Pokemon like Breloom, which is a grass-fighting type. It can have a secondary grass-type move. I think Heracross is going to be interesting in PvP as a fighting type, because it has bug-type moves. You could have a full bug type with fighting as a secondary type, so that if someone sends out Heracross, the opponent might be expecting fighting type moves, as we've grown accustomed to in regular gameplay, therefore might send out a psychic type counter, but the Heracross surprises with bug type moves, which are then super effective against the counter. So there's a lot of opportunity for surprise in building your team correctly. Again, an additional layer of strategy. And that's the kind of strategy I like. Team building. Leviathan Blue says, should check out the article on GoHub. Lots of info. It's all the same info here. They got the same preview as Andrew Goldfarb, so when I went through this, it's essentially going through all the same information. Alex Lopez, Nick, do you see a future feature that allows me to use my 2800 CP Gengar in the Great League, even if it meant a temporary CP reroll? I could say this is possible in the future. Obviously, we don't have it right now, or at least we don't have confirmation of it right now. Being able to temporarily lower your Pokemon's CP for different leagues, this is something that you can do in main series Pokemon games, so there is precedent for it. You can enter certain cup rules, and the game will lower your Pokemon to a certain level. Like it'll equalize all Pokemon at level 50, for example. Definitely possible in the future. As of right now, not available, but again, this is version 1 of PvP, and we know that Niantic is building a lot more to improve the system. Also, FLW is really excited for the Great and Ultra League. Dude, I agree completely. I mean, look at my super nerdy math over here. I think they're going to be a lot more interesting than Master League. Michael McCarthy with a $5 super chat. I appreciate all this work you've done. So glad this game is getting somewhere for the competitive scene. Michael, thank you for the support. I agree. I am very optimistic about this. I see a lot of potential for strategy beyond what it looks like on the surface. There's definitely a lot more to it. Mystic Phoenix, thank you for that $1 super chat. And MS says, when will Nintendo release the Trainer Tips Nick Pokemon Edition? Keep up your fantastic work. I don't think Nintendo's ever releasing anything, but thanks, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate the compliment. Now, as far as other strategy, going back to the Sylph Arena, the competitive league that I'm working with the Sylph Road to develop here. We're working on establishing a set of rules and potentially even different formats. Team play. There's a lot to be done here. So an additional way to increase strategy in Pokemon Go PvP is by creating rules. In VGC, Video Game Championships, this is competitive main series Pokemon. Each player, when you enter a tournament, registers a team of 6 Pokemon. You bring 6 Pokemon in, you let the tournament organizers know this is my team of 6, and then at the beginning of each match, you actually choose 4 of those Pokemon to bring into battle. So there's an additional layer of strategy here. So when you meet an opponent for the first time, you get a short team preview where you get to actually look at what Pokemon your opponent has. You see the 6 Pokemon that your opponent registered in the tournament. You don't get to see details, you don't see their moves, their natures, held items, anything like that, but you do see which 6 Pokemon they're using, and then you choose which 4 Pokemon to bring into battle. And I think that's an interesting way to add more strategy to Pokemon Go PvP as well. We know that battles are 3 versus 3, you choose 3 Pokemon, but if at the beginning of every tournament, organized through the Sylph League Arena right here, each entrant registers a team of 6, you can do a team preview. When you meet your opponent, these are the 6 Pokemon I'm using, Machamp, Mewtwo, whatever. Name your 6 Pokemon or show your 6. And then each of you chooses 3 of those Pokemon to bring into battle. So that adds some strategy in trying to predict what your opponent is going to do, in reacting to what their team could potentially be and trying to outsmart them before the battle even starts. And then playing matches as best of 3 adds additional strategy. Say you go into game 1 of a match and you just get stomped. You chose the wrong Pokemon. Your opponent had counters for everything. Before the second match, you then get to sub out Pokemon. So you can take out 1 or 2 of the original team and bring in other Pokemon from your registered team of 6. So you get to change up your team between matches in order to maybe make some better choices or bring in some potential counters for Pokemon that were a problem on your opponent's team. So by making tournaments best of 3, you get 2 chances, and you get to introduce strategy both before the match and between games in each match. There's an option. Niels, thank you for the super chat. And Flickering Silverlight says, do you think Torterra will do well in Ultra League once it has a community day? Stone Edge and Frenzy Plant covers a lot of its weaknesses. Yeah. We can talk about that too. There's going to be a lot of Pokemon that are surprises or maybe sleepers or maybe will just be powerhouses in PvP because of their moves. Moves are going to become a lot more important. Potentially even more important than just stats alone, because it gives you coverage against counters, which is important. Again, with only 3 Pokemon, you need some interesting choices to win these matches. Also, Nick, you know how small the throw circle is for Execute? Just got an excellent curveball throw on it. Did I say excellent? Anyway, congrats, Mark. I actually don't think I've ever gotten an excellent curveball on Execute. Been struggling, man. It's a tough one. So again, I mean, I think I've kind of gone into plenty of detail. I want to hear from you. What do you think? What do you think of the potential for strategy? And also, Kakuzato Jr. says, is there any point in winning really if both trainers get the rewards, or is it just for fun, kicking butts of others? Is there a point in winning? I mean, if you're doing PvP only for rewards, then no, it doesn't matter. But if you're playing competitively, if you're a competitive person, if you want to prove that you're good at something, of course there's always there's a point in winning. That's up to you. I mean, you could argue the same thing about anything. If you don't enjoy it, then there's no point. But I think a lot of people are going to enjoy PvP. Any link to the spreadsheet? The spreadsheet's not really formatted for public. I mean, look at this. It's really just me typing in calculations. You can't see that because it's behind my... There you go. So it's literally me typing in stats and doing the math. All right. That's the CP formula right there. In case you're interested. Stat formula by level, including over here. This is CPM, CP multiplier down on this side. For each level, there's a different multiplier. So this spreadsheet isn't in a format that's really easy for me to share or easy to understand. It's got some formulas typed out here, but again, hopefully PokeBattler or GamePress or someone will create a tool like this for doing this kind of math, for figuring out what IV spreads are going to work in certain leagues. So a tool like this should be coming soon. I'm kind of counting on someone in the community to come up with this. Otherwise, I'll try to get this spreadsheet into a usable format. But for now, not really something I'm going to be sharing. Zero Din says, love the tourney idea, only 3 battles per day, how to do it. There is no limit, actually, on the number of battles you can do. Only 3 battles per day will earn you rewards, but you can battle an unlimited number of times. There's no cost to battling, aside from your time. You don't even have to use potions. Your Pokemon heal afterwards. So there's no limit to the number of battles you can do per day. Elizabeth H. says, in the UK, fighting sleep to wait for PvP to launch. Hurry, Niantic. Well, Elizabeth, I'm going to say go ahead and get some sleep. PvP is not coming until next week at the earliest, according to Andrew Goldfarb's article here. Niantic didn't confirm a specific release date, but hinted they could start to arrive as soon as next week and will definitely be out before the end of the month. So, feel free to get some sleep in the meantime, Elizabeth, and thank you for the super chat. Let's see. Do you know how Ditto will work in PvP? It won't. Andrew Goldfarb confirms that Ditto and Shedinja are both not available to use in PvP. What else we got? I think it's a good foundation with a large ability to move things for more moves. Cherry Pie, I agree. It's definitely a good foundation. Dan Dangerfield, in my area, there's a lot of active Go players. I hope they make local tournaments. Well, Dan, if your local community is not already signed up with the Sylph League, it's time to introduce them to the Sylph League because there will be tournaments available. The Sylph League, Sylph Arena, Sylph.gg will provide all the tools that you need to host a tournament. And by hosting league-sanctioned tournaments, all of your community, your players, will actually have their stats tracked and ranked on both a local and regional level. So if you want to organize tournaments, if you want to organize competitive play for your community, get involved with the Sylph League right now. The Sylph League Arena, sylph.gg, that's linked in the description. And we're going to make it very easy for anyone to set up tournaments and host tournaments that will actually count towards ranked play. Carrie Burtman says, no specific questions, just showing support. Thanks for being awesome. Thank you, Carrie. I appreciate it. Chelsea Jenkins, thank you for the super chat. And Stephanie Reacts says, new boxes in games just came out. I'll have to check that out, but I'm a little more excited about PvP than boxes. But thanks for the heads up, Stephanie. Lucas got a $24.99 CP Blastburn Charizard with 93% IVs. Nice. Set. Why not Shedinja in PvP? Because it has 10 HP. I mean, that's the only reason I can think of. And then hopefully Niantic is working on making Shedinja interesting. Might Shuckle be usable? We're going to have to look at Shuckle. Shuckle's going to be kind of an edge case. Shuckle is more used for, I mean, until status effects and stat boosts and debuffs are introduced, I don't think Shuckle's really going to be viable in PvP. Master has a max CP of 10,000 total for the team. Okay, that's good. What's 10,000 divided by 3? 33. Is that accurate? Where did that information come from? If someone could link to that information where they saw that Master League has a max CP of 10,000, I think that's probably showing per Pokemon, and that's just in lieu of showing an unlimited limit. Abilities. Abilities will probably be coming, I mean, eventually. Look, this is Foundation. This is version 1 of PvP. Do I need to be close to a trainer for PvP if I have their QR code? Yes. The only people you can battle remotely are are Ultra and Best Friends. If you're using QR code, you do have to be nearby, probably the same radius as trading. What else? Any other questions? When will the update go live? Again, we don't have a confirmed date as early as next week, but definitely before the end of the month. That is all we know right now. Mask Maker says, when are you coming to San Diego again? I don't know right now, but the sooner you guys organize tournaments down there, the sooner I'll be back. Ryan Colgrove says, Nick, I think VGC style is a solid way to go about metagame. What is your team of 6? I don't know yet, actually, Ryan. I think it's hard to choose a team right now because we don't know if damage formulas are going to be reworked. We don't know if move stats are going to be reworked. We don't know if move pools are going to be expanded, and that's something that I hope does happen because only having 3 charge moves in a move pool is going to make it fairly easy still to figure out what moves a Pokemon is running. So let me pull up this page, which I've been using to look at Poke Assistant, because this is the only one I can find that has everything on one page, but here's movesets, right? If we look at movesets for, let's say, fighting type Pokemon, right? Because it's such a common Pokemon in the meta, right? Machamp. Counter is probably going to be your best quick move. Close combat, we know, is a big one for Machamp. But then its other options, Heavy Slam and Stone Edge, are the other off-type moves that it has. Neither of those, well, Stone Edge, actually. So if Machamp comes up against a flying type, flying beats fighting, but if you're carrying Stone Edge, that's a good counter to your counter. Likewise, Heracross, I think, is going to be interesting because of that bug typing. I think that psychic moves are going to be more common than flying moves as counters to fighting types. Therefore, Heracross is going to be better against a psychic type counter because it can carry Mega Horn and surprise a psychic type. It could even carry Struggle Bug as a main attack if you were trying to get tricky and sneaky. Heavy Slam for fairies. Yeah, thank you. That's correct. Machamp can carry Heavy Slam for countering fairy types. From the IGN video, can you tell if Pokemon have an expanded moveset? No, unfortunately, we don't ever get to see anything like that. Will battles increase friendship level? Yes, that's been confirmed. You know if PvP has a chat function? The chat function is your voice. PvP will mostly be taking place in person, so say, hey, hi. And then you have to be nice. Not like other online games where you just, don't really think of your opponent as an actual human. Here you got to look him in the face, so hopefully that'll help keep things civil. Super chats from Brandy. Again, thank you. Just ordered limited trainer tips pin. Great gift. Thanks, Brandy. Appreciate the support. Mega Dr. Dre. Will IVs matter more in PvP? In different ways, yes. We can talk a little bit more about that. And Adriana Sato. Will weather effects boost PvP moves? P.S. Brazil loves you. Come here soon. Brazil soon, definitely. As far as we know, according to Andrew Goldfarb's article, weather will not affect PvP. It says right here. Weather, Pokemon will not be boosted by the current weather during trainer battles. And then to go into IVs again, yes, IVs will matter in PvP and in a different way. So if we look at Machamp, and we're really talking about the lower leagues here, Ultra and Great League, a Machamp could have 15-15-15 at level 28.5 and come in under 2500 CP for Ultra League. You could also go with the 0-15-0 IV spread, or a 15-1-15. So these are all different IVs for Machamp, essentially different builds. One is more offensively focused, one is defensively focused, and one is just sort of all around. And that does affect the final stats. Even though you're playing in the same league, under 2500 CP, they all have different stat spreads, which could make the difference in certain matchups. So yes, IVs will matter in PvP, at least in Ultra and Great League. Mewtwo will still be the king with vast move pool. Yes, Mewtwo does have a huge move pool. I think Mew is also going to be an interesting Pokemon in PvP because it has the biggest move pool. Mew is just going to be an absolute surprise. Sparky Joy asks, how important are lucky Pokemon now? It depends on what league you're playing in. I think lucky Pokemon have a lot of benefits regardless. And especially if you're trying to get these different IV spreads, lucky is going to be harder because you're not going to get a 0-15-0 lucky Pokemon. If you get a 0-15-0 Machamp, it won't be lucky. Lucky has an IV floor of 10, right? So, or maybe 12 now? I don't know. Either way, getting these IV spreads is definitely going to require trading. So there will be a lot of trading involved in building your team for PvP. I don't think lucky is as important if you're playing in lower leagues. Obviously, there is a Stardust cost to playing, so there's going to be a lot of management, and people who grind Stardust the most will have an advantage in that aspect, in that they'll have more options or more freedom to power up Pokemon to certain levels. But if you look here, so for example, 15, 15, 15 Machamp, in Ultra League, that's level 28.5. 32 is the max level for a Machamp here. The higher a Pokemon's max CP is, the less you actually have to power it up to play in the lower leagues. So Stardust is definitely important, but depending on what league you're focusing on, could be less important. Havoc, thank you for the super chat. Tinas Lundolin, you're back. Did I get it? Was I closer that time, Catherine? Can I use my high IV John Cena? Keep up the great work, Nick. Love from Norway once again. I don't think John Cena is going to be tournament legal. I'll be honest. He's a little OP. Cody Wilson, do you watch the anime? What do you think of Sun and Moon? I actually haven't watched the anime in a while. I know the animation style looks a lot better now, so that's one thing. I can at least say that much. Catherine says I was okay on the pronunciation this time. Can we get a new loading screen? Yes, there is a new loading screen. Let me go find it for you. It's on Andrew Goldfarb's Twitter. There it is. New loading screen for PvP. Electivire, Lucario. Can't see if there's anything else in the details, but definitely a PvP loading screen coming with the update. Do you think rewards will depend on which league you battle in? I don't. I think the rewards are going to be the same regardless of league, since there's only 3. Mask Maker, add me so we can battle remotely. Mask Maker, thanks for the super chat. I'm not adding people to my friends list as of right now, but I appreciate that. Have I seen the PvP vid? I've seen this PvP vid from Andrew Goldfarb. So we can just kind of let this play while we keep chatting. What else is going on in chat? What are the different leagues? There's Great, there's Ultra, and there's Master League, 1500 max CP, 2500 max CP, and unlimited CP. And beyond that, there is also the Sylph League, which is going to be the most interesting league, I think. And again, if you're interested in talking about competitive play, having competitive discussion, rule sets and all that, head over, start following, hit up the subreddit. All that's linked in the description. So competitive play is going to be a lot more interesting. We've got it all set up for ranked tournaments. And this is, yes, this is global. This is entirely based on the Sylph League, the Sylph Roads, 10,000 plus communities around the world. So any Sylph League community can host ranked tournaments coming very soon. Seth Smith. Oh, first of all, Wi-Fi burn. Thank you for the super chat. Seth Smith says, "Hey Nick, do you think they'll change gyms to this new battle system, kind of like battling the AI team leader?" I think gyms are going to remain the same. We do know that your second charge move will carry over to gyms and raids, so you'll be able to use a second charge move, but I think the system is going to stay the same for gyms and raids. Dynamis? We gonna PvP records? I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. If you want records, you can play organized play via the Sylph League arena. We will be keeping records this way, and also keeping track of ranks, both local and regional rank. Holding big tournaments as well. Any local community can host a tournament, and then we'll also be hosting regional and world invitational tournaments. Big stuff. Cal B, do you think rewards will depend on the league? Again, no, I don't think so. I think it'll be the same rewards regardless. Wi-Fi bum, can we start a petition for Ditto? Go ahead, yeah. I don't think I'll be signing the petition. Maybe. But yeah, we can definitely start a petition for Ditto. And Arna Arneberg says, what are the benefits for battling team leaders? It's just practice, essentially. You can earn rewards once per day from battling team leaders, so you could potentially get a Sinnoh Stone out of it. And then it kind of gives you something to do. If you're sitting at home, you can have this sort of single player without having to go outside. So you can practice against them. But the real benefit is rewards once per day. Just got here. Are we allowed to use Legendary in these PvP battles? In the system itself, in-game, there are no limitations on which Pokemon can be used. In competitive play, in the Sylph League arena, as a metagame develops, there might be restrictions on certain Pokemon. If it turns out that some Pokemon are just too powerful for certain formats, there may be restrictions. But again, that's, you know, for anyone who's coming from any competitive gaming background, that's just common, right? That certain things are banned or restricted in certain formats. Eric Lashley, will the Sylph Arena have some form of live spectating available via Twitch or some streaming platform? That is going to depend entirely on the tournament organizers. So Sylph Arena tournaments are going to be hosted in person by the Sylph League communities. So local communities will be able to organize their tournaments, and all that information, again, is going to be tracked through the Sylph League, your rank and all that, player tier. So if a community decides to stream their tournament, then yeah, definitely. And then myself and Mystic 7 will be hosting some tournaments. So with the Sylph League team, we definitely will stream certain tournaments. Again, we are going to have regional and world invitationals eventually as PvP progresses. So we will be streaming some key tournaments, definitely. But again, any community in the Sylph League has the tools through sylph.gg to host their own tournaments, and then it's up to them if they want to stream those. Miguel says, I forgot to mention, due to you posting the PvP video super early and me being homesick, I got my first Trainer Tips pin. Super excited. Yo! Thanks, Miguel. I appreciate the support. I'm glad you finally were able to get one. Sweet! Kajan Nala asks, how would 2-bar charge moves work versus 1-bar charge? Do we have to use the move for it to charge up again? So if we look at this, we can get to a certain part of this video right here. Watch the way these moves charge. The way that charge moves work is that a 1-bar charge move requires 100 energy. A 2-bar charge move requires 50 energy, and a 3-bar requires 33.33333 energy. So you can build up a maximum of 100 energy, and it looks like, as we get to this point where Flamethrower is fully charged, this is when Infernape has 50 energy built up. You can see that Solar Beam, which requires 100 energy, is halfway charged. So at 50 energy, Flamethrower becomes available, 50 more energy, and Solar Beam would become available. When Infernape uses Flamethrower, which I think happens in a later clip here, when the Infernape uses Flamethrower, it uses that 50 energy, and then you go back down to 0 energy. If you were to continue charging past 50 energy, once you had 100 energy, you could use Solar Beam, and then Solar Beam is going to use up 100 energy, and then you have 0 energy, so you can't use either move. If you charged up 100 energy and used Flamethrower, you would be left with 50 energy, so you could immediately, ideally, theoretically, use Flamethrower again right away, since you still have 50 energy left over. So that's the way charge moves work. You have an energy total, and each move uses a certain amount of energy. Brandy Rust, Mod Squad working hard. Thank y'all. Yeah, thank you, mods. Appreciate you guys. Chuck's here? Yo, Chuck. What's up, Chuck? Real talk, though, any intel on a Christmas event? Will PvP be introduced within an event? I don't actually know, Chuck. I don't have any intel on a Christmas event, but I don't see why it wouldn't happen. Everyone loves Christmas, right? Or the holidays. Everyone loves the holidays. Xavier Dusad, thank you for the super chat. And Armando Alba, my community in San Diego is already setting up a league for the South Bay area and hoping to work with Sylph Road as soon as their league opens up. Excellent. If you guys aren't already established in the Sylph League community, you can go and do that right now. Get a Discord or Telegram set up with the Sylph League, and you would get access to more information that way. So if you have a local community that isn't set up with the Sylph League already, talk to your community organizers, community leaders, and get set up with the Sylph League so that you can start hosting ranked tournaments as soon as PvP becomes available. Thanks for that super chat, man. Is that a Smeargle in that battle, or am I not seeing correctly? That was a Smeargle. So this battle, this footage comes from a test build that people got to play with, Andrew Goldfarb included. And you can see Regigigas here. You can see Heatran and Smeargle as his other Pokemon. So they did get to play with unreleased Pokemon, but that is a demo build. So he says throughout the article that this is a demo build they were playing. It's not a public build, and it includes a lot of things that obviously aren't finalized, including Pokemon that aren't available yet. So Smeargle, this isn't confirmation in any way that Smeargle is coming. Only that Niantic has Smeargle's assets created. They just haven't released it yet. Brett Murphy says, after using Stardust on a second charge move, does it become permanent or not? It does, Brett. The charge move will become permanent, and you can use that in raids or in gym battles as well. And Mega Dr. Dre asks, will the start screen ever change? Yes, it will. We have a preview of that via Andrew Goldfarb on Twitter right here. There it is. That's the new PvP loading screen. Exciting. Shout out Andrew Goldfarb, who says, by the way, here's some clarifications. I know a lot of people have been asking these questions in chat as well. Weather will not boost Pokemon during battles. Battles can count towards your daily friendship level. New extra attacks are permanent and work in gyms and raids, and Pokemon will be fully healed after battles. Big stuff coming from the executive editor of IGN. I think it's really cool that Andrew is this into Pokemon Go. Executive editor of IGN, his job is basically to know everything about video games. And for him to be this big of a fan of Pokemon Go, I think is high praise. So Bryce Thomas asks, best lineup for Master League. Well, Bryce, we don't actually know yet. A metagame probably won't develop and solidify until at least a couple weeks after PvP comes out. We can theorize right now which are going to be the best Pokemon, and then on top of that, we'll be able to choose which are the best counters for those. Pokemon with the least counters will be ranked highly. But again, a metagame is going to develop over time. So right now, we can speculate. We can say what to start with, but until people are actually doing these battles, we won't know. And again, also, we don't know if moves are changing at all, if move pools are changing, if anything like that is happening. So hard to say at this point. It's just going to require actual play testing to figure out who's going to be relevant in the metagame in each league, and there will be a different metagame for each league. Silverina, people. Can I use multiple of the same Pokemon species in a battle team? I'm not sure if that's confirmed, but I will say for competitive play, for the Sylph League, I think we are going to have a rule against that each Pokemon has to be unique. It has to have a different Pokedex number, meaning the same way that they do in VGC, in main series competition. Each Pokemon has to have a different Pokedex number, so you couldn't use 2 Raichu, you couldn't use Raichu and Alolan Raichu. You can't use different forms of the same Pokemon. They'll all have to be different Pokedex numbers. And again, that's not in-game. I'm just saying through competitive play that we're organizing with the Sylph League arena. That will probably be a staple rule. Grongern, how much will this be a numbers game versus type counts? Type counters. So I think, we're definitely looking at a type counters environment for sure. Choosing the right counters, I think, is going to be important. For example, if we go back to movesets or CP and stuff, I think it's going to be more important to choose the right Pokemon rather than choose the right build for a Pokemon. So if you're at a, trying to choose a fighting type for your team, you want Machamp, do you want Heracross? It's going to depend on the metagame. Are you expecting to come up against flying and fairy type counters to your Machamp, or are you expecting to your fighting type, or are you expecting to see psychic type counters? If the metagame includes more psychic types, you would probably choose Heracross, since it has bug type moves to go up against psychic types. If the metagame has more flying and fairy types, then you would probably choose Machamp, since it has better moves to counter those. I think that's going to be more important than, for example, choosing the right IV build on a Machamp, because if you're coming up against a psychic type, no matter what IV spread you don't have moves that are super effective against the psychic type. So I think it's type matters more than IVs. And again, that's based on just what I've read and seen online. We don't actually have PvP yet, so this could all change eventually. Do we know when PvP will drop? No. I should just leave this on screen, shouldn't I? Niantic didn't confirm a specific release date for trainer battles, but hinted that they could start to arrive as soon as next week and will definitely be out before the end of the month. So that's the window we have right now, as soon as next week, but will definitely be out before the end of the month. And again, it's probably going to be a staggered rollout starting with level 40, and then gradually including more and more trainers, as they do with every major feature rollout. So don't get mad on day one if you can't play because you're not level 40. Within 2 to 3 days at most, everyone will be able to use PvP. And again, as early as next week, definitely before the end of the month. All right. Here's the deal. I'm going to start closing this out. Again, if you're interested in ranked play, if you're interested in getting your community set up to host ranked tournaments for Pokemon Go, go to the links in the description, the Sylph League Arena, sylph.gg. Subscribe to the subreddit, reddit.com/r/thesylpharena. You can also follow on Twitter @sylphgg. Myself, along with the Sylph Road and a few others, are creating a ranked tournament league for Pokemon Go competitive PvP. And if you want to get involved, again, get your local community set up with the Sylph League right away, and as soon as PvP launches, you'll be able to start hosting ranked tournaments for Pokemon Go. Renee Lujan says, I see big PvP events like GoFest happening. Absolutely. And if Niantic themselves aren't going to do it, then the Sylph League Arena absolutely is. Competing and winning in local Sylph Arena tournaments increases your player tier, your local and regional rank, and may even earn you a coveted invitation to compete at regional and world invitationals. So, the competitive league is here. And you're all getting in on day 1, or day 0, or day -5, or however many days we are away from PvP. So get your community set up on the Sylph League, and you'll be able to host ranked tournaments, and your best players will be able to earn invitations to compete at our bigger regional and world invitational tournaments. Robert Bullock says, the idea of rolling out big updates to level 40 players is smart and shows they value the feedback of dedicated players. Also keep up the good work. Thank you, Robert. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. A lot of people are kind of impatient, but yes, obviously when a big feature rolls out, you want to roll it out to a small group, first of all, so that you can have a controlled sort of bug testing environment rather than dropping it on everyone and then discovering a huge bug. And also, starting with level 40 players, yes, you are rewarding the dedicated players who can provide, in a lot of instances, more valuable feedback. So, thank you, Robert, for the super chat. And everyone, make sure you sign up for the Sylph League. Get a Sylph Trainer card. It's going to display your rank on your trainer card, so you'll be able to show off where you rank among your friends, locally, regionally. And that's about it. Thanks, everyone, for stopping by. And to everyone who watched this entire thing on replay, you're all champions in my heart. Ethan, do you think we'll be able to raise IVs by training? I don't think so yet. I don't think so quite yet. We might get a bottle cap eventually. But again, if you're looking at my spreadsheet here, different IV spreads are going to be important. So you might even not even want max IVs depending on what league you're playing in. All right. Thank you guys. I'm going to put this up as soon as it's done processing as a full video so you can watch the replay. PvP hype. It's real. Come join us. The Sylph Arena. Let's talk. Let's develop some competitive rules. I'll see you soon.